Howdy, my dear friends all over the world. I've been kind of confused lately on keeping up with my videos, skipping chapters. But I think I got it all straightened out right now, thanks to y'all. Glad y'all are alert and awake and vigilant. Good thing I'm not fighting a war. I'd have been killed on the first day. Actually, I am fighting a war, and every Christian on planet Earth is fighting a war. We got to keep our full armor on at all times. My brain needs some armor. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Anyway, I'm just going to read and read and read because I love reading this book. I got so confused on numbers that I started yesterday. I told myself I was not going to mess it up. Well, I messed it up. I was going to read chapters 1, 2, and 3, I think, something like that. And I totally skipped one. But I went back and added it plus another one later. So you got that. And I don't know how to edit a video, y'all. I wish I did. Back when I was doing my gardening videos, I had 2 editors. I hardly ever used them, but I had them. And I hardly ever used them because they were hard to figure out. And I used to be very computer literate. But a lot of stuff I used to do, I can't do anymore. If y'all know an easy, inexpensive video editor I can use, let me know the name of it. Please. Even if I had it, I probably wouldn't use it. But anyway. All right, yesterday I got through Numbers chapter 5, and I'm going to pick up in chapter 6 now. And we also we finished Acts yesterday, and I started Romans. And I know I read Romans to you late last year. That was before I started the reading through the Bible together with you. You had it, but a lot of you wasn't with me then, and I love the book of Romans, and the book of Romans needs to be shared a lot right now. So I just went from Acts right into Romans. And I think I came back and added some more to that later. I don't think I messed it up. I may have, I don't remember. Anyway, I think everything's right now. It probably won't be right long, but I think right at the moment it is. And I'm going to pick up in Numbers chapter 6, and let me get adjusted best I can to make my back happy for 20 or 30 minutes, or 40 or 50 minutes. All right. And y'all, I turn the heater either off or down very low at night because the covering I got on my bed, it keeps me toasty warm no matter what the temperature is. Matter of fact, the last 2 nights I got hot and had to kick some of it off. I forgot what I was going to tell you now. Anyway, when I got up this morning, I had it set on 50, I think. 50 degrees, the thermostat for the heater had it set on 50 degrees. And when I first got out of bed, then I got cold. And so I turned the thermostat up from 50 or whatever it's set at to 70. And then about 10 minutes later, I was hot, just walking around the house doing my early morning chores. And so I've got on just a plain old t-shirt right now because I had to cool off, and I got the thermostat turned back down to 50 something. I hadn't even checked the weather app to see what the temperature is, had a lot of snow 2 or 3 days ago, and it's still cold, but it's not near as cold as it was. All right, I got to stop my jaw flapping. And y'all want to talk every now and then, send me an email to stanappliling@yahoo.com, and I'll give you my phone number. Numbers chapter 6. Numbers chapter 6 needed some coffee. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. I love eating grapes. I eat a lot of grapes. And I drink apple cider vinegar. I hope that doesn't count. Apple cider vinegar is good for you, y'all, and it's non-alcoholic. It's just apple cider vinegar. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vows of his separation there shall no razor come upon his head. No razor has come upon mine in a few days. Again, speaking of grapes, here I am chasing rabbits. Now, that farm I had back in Texas on the Gulf Coast, I had, I don't even remember, probably 20 different varieties of fruit trees, and a lot of each variety. Peaches. I tried apples several times. Apples don't do very good down there. I had persimmons. That was a request of my last wife. She was from Ukraine and loved persimmons. And I could eat them. They just were not my favorite fruit. I had a lot of them. And fig trees. I had a ton of fig trees. And grapes, black grapes and green grapes. And pomegranates. I love pomegranates. And plum trees, pear trees. And I did a lot of home canning. I still do, but not from fruits and vegetables that I grew. I do have gardens, not right at the moment. I don't, because there's ice and snow. But I do have gardens, just not. I had enough gardens back in Texas to feed a third of Texas. And I would dehydrate some, I would freeze some, vacuum seal it, and freeze it. And I did a lot of home canning. And whatever was left over, I would give away. I had 19 giant pecan trees on that place. And I would keep about 200 pounds shelled, 200 pounds of just the pecan meat that I would vacuum seal and freeze, and did a lot of cooking with pecans. In the evening, I would eat a lot of pecans just as a snack, and I love that place. It's like my Garden of Eden, and I miss it, but it required a lot of work, and I got to where I couldn't take care of it by myself. So one day I came in from working, and I'd work sun up to sunset, and my time with God, my primary time with God, was several hours before the sun came up. And then when the sun came up enough where I could see, then I'd start working. And I'd work from sunup to sunset. One day in July of 2021, I came in after working all day. I was wore out. Came inside and sit down and grabbed a pen and piece of paper, notepad, and started writing an ad for that property. And went back outside and took probably 15 pictures or so of different parts of the property. Went back in and posted an ad on Zillow, an app for buying and selling houses. And I had bought the house and the land. There's no trees on it. Well, the big oak trees and the big pecan trees that's been there 50 or 60 years was there, but that was the only trees that's there. And it had probably close to 200 trees when I sold it. There were 60 or 61 oak trees, 19 giant pecan trees, and probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 or 60 fruit trees, and 4 or 5 big rose gardens that were beautiful. And I don't know how many vegetable gardens, 4 or 5 big ones and 2 or 3 small ones. With that many big trees, with that many oak and pecan trees out there, I had to plant my fruit trees and roses away from the big trees so they'd get sunshine. It was a beautiful place. Anyway, I've talked too much. This is just going to be a bonus video. Let me finish what I was saying. I bought the place. It was a foreclosure when I bought it. Highest bidder won. And I bid whatever, I don't remember. And my realtor called me a day or two later. She said, if you want that property, you better place the highest bid that you would be willing to pay for it, because house flippers are going crazy over that property bidding. And so I thought about it, prayed about it, placed a bid, and won it. So when I got ready to sell it, I had no idea what to ask for it. I knew that real estate in that part of Texas was going out the roof. It was going crazy. And so the price that I paid for it 11 years before, I tripled that price. And that's the price I put on it when I listed that ad. And y'all, 2 hours after, and I didn't, at that price, I didn't think anybody would even read the ad, much less be interested in it. 2 hours after that ad went live, it sold. I had a contract on it, a written contract on it. 2 hours later, at full asking price. And another flipper out of Houston called me an hour or two after that and said, sight unseen, he would give me $5,000 more than I asked. And I said, I'm sorry, Boa, it's already got a contract. So that's that. But when I would be puttering around working on the property, and it was nonstop work. I'd be on my tractor and I'd drive by a fig tree and grab a handful of figs off of it and eat them as I was working, or drive by the grape vineyard and get a handful of grapes and eat them while I was working, or grab a plum and eat it, or grab a pomegranate and eat it. I loved it out there. I just couldn't take care of it anymore. Had all kind of birds. I fed birds. I had bird feeders all over the place. Had some big, I don't remember if it was red shoulder hawks or yellow shoulder hawks. They had like a 3-foot wingspan, and they would fly fast. They had nests in some of the pecan trees way out back close to the back fence line, and they would soar. They would fly through those trees, around, around. And if they ever, I was surprised they never flew into a tree as fast as they flew and as close together as those trees were. But I never saw any dead hawks out there, so they didn't. I got pictures of one of them. Usually they were flying too fast for me to get a picture, but I got a picture of one of them sitting on a tree branch. And I had honeybees, had 3 hives. And for years, I had honeybees in agriculture when I was in high school. And I had them at a couple of houses I lived at. And then I lived in places that did not allow honeybees in town, in subdivisions. So I didn't have them for a long time. And then several years after I bought that property, I got a, 3 hives out there, and it was one hive, a horizontal hive. Have you ever seen a horizontal hive? It was three hives side by side instead of stacked one on top of the other, and it made it a whole lot easier for me to work because you open this one big lid, which was on hinges, and you had access to all of the frames and everything. I got videos of it, got videos of me working. I mean, go back and look at them sometime. I have never been allergic to bees or anything really. I've been stung by bees countless times, and recently, not back. I don't remember ever being stung. What I do, one time a bee flew out of the hole. I was bent over looking in the hole, their entrance door, and I was bent over looking in it, and one came out, bam, got me right between the eyes. But that was a long time ago, and that was the only time I remember ever getting stung until I got this set of 3 beehives. And I didn't get stung by any with it for a month or two. I would work the hives with no protection, no veil or no bee suit or anything. I had one, I had a nice one, but it never got taken out of the package. It was expensive, but I never used it. And one day I was out there working, and the bees I bought for that hive were called the Texas 5000. And they weren't the most gentle bees in the world, but they weren't the most violent bees either. And I bought them because they produced a lot of honey. And I worked them unprotected for several months, never got stung. They would fly around and do their business while I did my business. And one day, I was pulling a frame up out of the hive to inspect it, and when I was putting it back down, I accidentally dropped it. It fell into the slot where it's supposed to go, so it didn't drop forward, just 2 or 3 inches maybe, but it ticked off those bees big time. And one of them stung me, and then a few seconds later another one, and then all of a sudden they all decided to sting me. And I think it's something like 86, 87 stings that I got, but it didn't bother me. I was not allergic to bees. It was like a mosquito bite on steroids. A few days later, I was working the hives again. I went back to finish what I had started doing that day. It was getting close to winter time, and I was putting a bee feeder into the hive since they didn't have pollen to go get in the wintertime. So I was putting a bee feeder in there when I dropped that frame and ticked them off. And I had to go back and finish that job. So I went out there, and I didn't do anything wrong at that time, but I guess they were still mad from me dropping that frame 2 or 3 days before, and I got attacked again. And that time it made me sick. I thought I was going to die. I went to the emergency room and they gave me they shot me with one of those EpiPens. And hang on a second. That's EpiPen. These things, my insurance paid for them. I got 3 of them, and I used 2 of them. I still got 1 left. But these things were $700 each for an EpiPen, epinephrine pen, and you're supposed to carry it with you all the time in case you get stung by a wasp or a bee or whatever, because it could kill you once you become allergic to them. But I only used 2 of them, and I got 1 left, and I don't carry it with me anywhere. But anyway, that was that. Let me get situated here again. I miss the place a lot. The beach was like 20 minutes away, and I loved just going to the beach. I felt very close to God on my property, and I felt very close to God on the beach. It was like he was right there with me. And of course he was, but I just could feel his closeness, those 2 places. Every morning when I'd wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, I would go out on the front porch, and the house faced east, and I'd watch the sun rise up over all the big trees out there. And I would pray and read the Bible and just really enjoyed my time with God every day. And while I was working out there all day, I would quote scriptures out loud as I was driving the tractor or digging gardens or whatever I was doing, putting mulch down, harvesting, planting, whatever. And I would sing hymns out loud. Nobody could hear me, so I'd sing hymns. And when I'd be driving one of the tractors, I'd sing the hymns out loud, very loud. At the top of my voice, I'd be singing them. But anyway, that's that. And I've talked so much, this has to be a video of its own, and I will come back shortly and do my reading this morning from the book of Numbers. And y'all, my reading last night, my New Testament reading last night, I did not know it until this morning, but I forgot to upload it. So it is uploading right now as I talk to you. Hopefully it will be uploaded by now. I can get this one of me chit-chatting uploaded, and while it is uploading, I'll start doing the one for our Read Through the Bible Together Old Testament reading very shortly. I love y'all. I really do love y'all. I really do appreciate y'all. Y'all's friendship means a lot to me, a lot more than you know. I love y'all's comments. A couple of you email me, and I like that. If any more of you want to email me, I'll give you, well, I gave it to you near the beginning of this video. If any of you want to talk on the phone, I'll give you my phone number through email. I won't put it on here public because I don't want to get bombarded by strangers. But y'all are not strangers. Y'all are my family, literally, because I have no family. All right, y'all. God bless you. And I'll be back shortly with the Old Testament reading for this morning. I love reading God's Word. I love it. I read it a lot more than just in the morning and the evening. and I got so much I want to share with you. But being single up here with no friends and nobody up here that wants to work, I've got to do everything, and it becomes a little overwhelming. I want my house spotless all the time. And back in Texas, Callie, my cat, was an outdoor cat. She never came inside except in the winter on the coldest nights she would come inside. Now she's inside all the time. She never goes outside because I live in town with busy streets. I live on a corner, so I got two streets, one beside me and one in front of me, that are busy. And instead of having acreage for her to run around and play on and chase mice and whatever else she wanted to chase, she stays inside. And she has adapted. There she is right there. She just hopped up in front of me. So instead of doing all that, now she stays inside and sleeps all day and all night. I think the only time she wakes up is to eat. She's a good kitty. She's right here. See, here's her tail. And she stays close to me. She was never close to anybody back in Texas, but she stays close to me. She's sitting there staring me right in the face right now. Kitty Callie, she's a good girl. We enjoy each other, but most of the time she's sleeping. But she's sleeping usually in that chair right beside me. Right now she's up on the table with me, right in front of me, between me and the camera. At night she cuddles up right flat against me. I have to be careful if I decide to roll over or something, because she cuddles right against me. She's on top of the covers and I'm underneath the covers, but in the summertime I'm not going to have any covers. It does get a little warm here. All right, I flapped my jaws too much, and I think I've said that about 20 times already. So I'll let y'all go and talk to you later. God bless you, friends.